Hello, my name is Michael Reynolds, and I'm 52 years old. I've spent most of my life in the shadows of high-stakes deals, building empires for others while they reap the glory. But let me tell you something right now. If you've ever poured your soul into a job only to have some smug suit tell you you're nothing but a cog in their machine, then buckle up. This is the story of how one careless insult from my boss ignited a fire that burned his entire world to the ground. It wasn't about violence or sabotage. It was pure, calculated justice, the kind that leaves the arrogant begging for mercy while you walk away with everything they thought was theirs. And trust me, by the end, you'll be cheering for the underdog who finally bit back. It all started on a crisp autumn morning in Seattle, the kind where the Puget Sound sparkles under a rare break in the clouds, and the air carries that fresh, salty tang mixed with the aroma of roasting coffee from the street vendors below our office tower. I'd just returned from a 2-week road trip across the Pacific Northwest, driving through the towering evergreens of Olympic National Park, camping under starry skies that reminded me why I fought so hard in my younger days. I needed that break. At 52, my body still bore the scars from my time in the Air Force, where I'd handled logistics for classified ops in places like Kandahar and Ramstein. Those experiences shaped me, taught me precision, patience, and how to navigate bureaucracies that could swallow a man whole. Our company, Cascade Tech Solutions, was a mid-sized player in the aerospace and defense sector, specializing in government contracts for advanced avionics systems. Think radar tech that keeps fighter jets invisible, or satellite comms that link troops in the field. I'd been there for 15 years, starting as a junior procurement specialist right after my honorable discharge at 37. Back then, Elias Grant had pulled me aside in a dingy conference room smelling of stale donuts and said, "Michael, I need a guy who knows how the DoD really ticks, not the glossy proposals, but the gritty handshakes." I delivered. Year after year, I forged relationships with Pentagon brass, navigated the federal acquisition regulations like a map I'd drawn myself, and secured deals that ballooned our revenue from $20 million to over $150 million annually. My office was on the 18th floor, a modest corner with a view of the ferries slicing through the Sound. My desk was a battlefield of encrypted laptops, stacks of redacted reports, and a faded photo of my squadron from '98. I had a top-secret SCI clearance, the golden ticket that took 4 years of polygraphs, background digs into my ex-wife's family, and endless paperwork. It let me access specs no one else in the company could touch. Elias understood that. We had weekly strategy sessions over black coffee, mapping out bids for contracts with names like Orion Surveillance or Pegasus Relay, multi-year beasts worth tens of millions of dollars. But 3 years ago, everything shifted when Elias sold a controlling stake to a venture firm out of Silicon Valley. They installed Derek Voss as VP of Operations, my new boss. Derek was 44, with a Harvard MBA he waved like a scepter, slicked back hair that screamed tech bro, and a wardrobe of custom Italian suits that probably cost more than my truck. His background? Venture capital gigs in San Francisco, flipping startups like houses. No military experience, no clearance, no clue about the defense world's web of trust and red tape. "We're modernizing," he'd say in his first all-hands meeting, his voice echoing in the open-plan space with its exposed beams and ping-pong tables. "Government contracts are just big sales, data-driven, agile, disruptive."
From the start, Derek treated me like an outdated relic. My first red flag was a presentation I prepped for him, a 60-slide deck on our pipeline, 12 active contracts, 25 pursuits, complete with org charts of DoD contacts I'd nurtured over dinners in D.C. or golf outings at Andrews Air Force Base. I knew quirks like General Harlan's preference for printed binders over PDFs, or how Admiral Ruiz always tested you with trick questions on export controls. Derek skimmed it for 15 minutes, then leaned back in his ergonomic chair, smirking. Michael, this is quaint, but can't we automate this with AI? Relationships are scalable now. My gut twisted like I'd swallowed lead. Quaint? Those quaint ties had landed us the Orion contract, a $45 million radar upgrade for the F-35 fleet. Over the next 3 years, Derek's arrogance eroded my loyalty like acid rain on stone. He'd interrupt my secure calls with procurement officers, barking efficiency hacks that violated compliance rules. Why not outsource the specs review to India, he'd suggest, oblivious that classified data couldn't cross borders. In board meetings, he'd parade his wins, the Pegasus deal I'd closed after 6 months of back-channel negotiations, while I sat in the back, fists clenched under the table, feeling the leather of my chair stick to my palms from sweat. The office air would thicken with his cologne, a sharp citrus that made my temples throb. Colleagues whispered. My team lead, Sarah, once pulled me aside in the break room, the hum of the fridge masking her words. "He's stealing your thunder, Mike. How do you stand it?" The internal toll was brutal. Nights in my modest condo overlooking Lake Union, I'd pace the hardwood floors, the city lights reflecting off the water like mocking stars. My heart would race, replaying his dismissals. Michael, stick to the grunt work. I'll handle strategy. At 52, with a daughter in college and an ex who still needed alimony, I couldn't just quit. But the powerlessness gnawed, a constant ache in my chest, like the phantom pain from an old shrapnel wound. I'd stare at my reflection in the bathroom mirror, lines etched deeper around my eyes, thinking, 15 years, I've built this. Why am I letting him dismantle me? The spark that lit the fuse came on that Monday morning after my vacation. I stepped off the elevator, briefcase in hand, the lobby buzzing with the clack of keyboards and the scent of fresh bagels from the cafe downstairs. Derek was waiting by my desk, arms crossed, that predatory grin splitting his face. "Well, look who decided to grace us with his presence. Hope you know, Michael, you're easily replaceable in this game." The words slapped me, echoing in my skull as the office chatter faded. My pulse thundered in my ears. I felt heat flush my neck, but I kept my voice steady. "Good to know, Derek." He chuckled and sauntered to his glass-enclosed lair, already typing on his phone, probably tweeting about leadership insights. I sat down, booted up my system, and dove into the backlog. 68 emails on the Orion Phase 2 rollout, the $45 million lifeline I'd personally shepherded through the DoD's labyrinth, meeting with General Harlan in a secure bunker outside Colorado Springs, where the air was dry and recycled, and trust was earned over shared stories of deployment hardships. As I fielded a call from Captain Lena Ortiz at the Naval Air Systems Command, her voice crisp, demanding updates on integration timelines, Derek's laughter drifted from his office. He was on with Elias, no doubt claiming the latest approvals as his visionary pivot. That afternoon, as rain pattered against the windows, turning the sound into a gray blur, I hovered over a LinkedIn tab. A message from 6 months back. Ryan Hale, CEO of Summit Aerospace, our top rival based in Denver. We'd met at a defense expo in Las Vegas, the convention hall alive with the whir of drones and the flash of booth lights. "Michael, we're expanding our GovCon arm. Your expertise could lead it. Let's talk." I'd ignored it. Loyalty, habit. But now Derek's words looped, easily replaceable. I thought of Ortiz specifying me for Orion reviews, of Harlan bypassing Derek's emails to text me directly, of the 4 other contracts in play, the $28 million Pegasus extension, the $19 million Sentinel drone comms, all hanging on threads I'd woven. In my truck that evening, parked in the garage, with the engine rumbling and exhaust fumes tickling my nose, clarity hit like lightning. My phone buzzed. Another text from Derek. "Orion report by EOD tomorrow. Don't drop the ball." My fingers trembled as I dialed Ryan. "Michael, didn't expect this. We're ready for you. Senior Director, Equity Slice, full control of Federal Ops. Timeline, 2 weeks." I watched headlights sweep the concrete walls, heart pounding. I'm in.
The next day, I drafted the resignation, 3 sentences printed on company letterhead, effective immediately. Thank you for 15 years. Best wishes. I walked it to Elias's office, the carpet muffling my steps. He looked up from his dual monitors, brow furrowing. "Michael, sit. What's going on?" I placed it down. "Derek's right, I'm replaceable, so handle Orion, Pegasus, Sentinel without me." His face paled like he'd seen a ghost. "This is rash. Let's negotiate." But I was out, packing my desk, 15 years of contact books, encrypted drives, personal notes, into 4 boxes. Derek watched from afar as I loaded my F-150, his smirk faltering for the first time. Driving to Summit's temp office in Seattle's tech district, my phone exploded. First, Orion contract paused, require Michael Reynolds as POC, General Harlan. Then Pegasus, termination notice if lead changes. Sentinel followed. By evening, $92 million in pipeline vaporized. Ryan met me with a grin in a sleek conference room overlooking the Space Needle. "You knew?" I shrugged. I knew Derek didn't. The fallout snowballed. Elias called at midnight, voice hoarse. "Michael, Harlan won't budge. Says trust is personal, not corporate." I leaned against my balcony rail, the cool night air carrying distant fairy horns. "That's the game, Elias. Clearances don't transfer. Relationships aren't assets on a balance sheet." Over the next week, more dominoes fell. The $35 million Aurora bid withdrawn, clients citing key personnel dependency. Derek's panic texts flooded in. "Come back, promotion, bonus." But I savored the silence between replies. At Summit, we absorbed it all. Ryan's team fast-tracked transfers. Harlan personally endorsed us for 3 new RFPs. Derek's board grilled him. Leaks from Sarah painted him unraveling in meetings, sweat staining his collars. The climax hit when Elias offered to sell Cascade's defense division outright, a $120 million fire sale. In the negotiation room, Derek's eyes met mine across the table. Defeated. "You win," he muttered. But it wasn't victory, it was correction. 6 months later, Derek's name was mud, blackballed in defense circles, scraping by in commercial tech. I signed the Orion renewal in Harlan's office, toasts raised. Sometimes the best revenge is proving irreplaceable. And that's how one man's arrogance cost him everything, while I built anew.